guys, it's Nathara at CrowSong Lodge, and I am now on day 8 of Ethony Dawn's 31 Days of Tarot Challenge. Slowly catching up. Today is the 11th, so I'm only 3 days behind now. Today's topic is the top 5 decks on your wish list now. And so this was really hard for me to come up with my top 5 because I kind of have a lot of tarot decks already, and I'm starting to get really picky about which new ones I'm going to buy. And so coming up with 5 that I want, like in more than just kind of an idle, like, meh, was actually kind of tough. When I get excited about a deck, I impulse buy them pretty quick now. And from a previous video, you saw that I didn't exactly buy a whole lot of them last year. So my need to acquire tarot decks has calmed down quite a lot. Either because I have a lot or because I'm older and more sane. I'm not sure which one it is. It's one of those. It might be a combination of both. Who knows? Even those mysteries are deeply hidden and cannot be penetrated, no matter how well versed you are in the magical arts. So who knows what spurs tarot readers to buy tarot decks? It could never be unraveled. But I did figure out what my top 5 were, and so I obviously don't have them to show them to you, so I will be putting little images and stuff from the internet in here as I talk about them, but in no particular order. My friend Alex showed me this deck that she has that I absolutely love, and it is the Lost Code of the Tarot, and it's this fictitious deck. It's a real deck based on a fictional story about this ancient tarot that was the inspiration for all the tarot that came after it, like all the tarot we have for today, except that in reality it's not really. And it's got these really eclectic and wild images and stuff. And they're really, you'll see them because I'll put them in here for you to look at. But they're really they've got kind of a French flair to them. At least I think they have kind of a French look to them. So they've got like a little bit of homage or a callback to the Tarot Messiah. But they've got this really rough, kind of chaotic feel to them. And I noticed when she was doing a live stream the other day that the pentacles appear to be a really wild looking Ouroboros, and I love the Ouroboros, so that's one of my favorite symbols. So I am really into that deck right now. So someday I will acquire one. And then the next one, again in no particular order, is the brand new Spiritsong deck that just came out. I'm pretty sure all of y'all are familiar with it, but the artwork on it is absolutely beautiful, and it's an animal deck, so that's kind of an easy sell when it comes to me. Not as easy as it used to be. I've gotten pretty picky about how exactly you approach the animals. The artwork has to be really incredible. I have to kind of appreciate the way you've utilized them in the deck, and they can't be too culturally appropriative and all that stuff. But the artwork in this is just incredible, and I really appreciate how she's been using the different animals throughout the deck, and it's just everything I've seen about the deck is incredible. So I will include images, probably, I don't know, I'll move them around to keep you from getting bored, I guess. I'll put them in here though because it's absolutely fantastic. The artwork is just, it's the artwork that sold me, really. The next one is the Transparent Tarot, and the artwork isn't so much a big deal. Normally it's the artwork that's a seller for me, but this is a pretty unique concept. It's got some primary symbols that we're used to from the Rider-Waite decks, from each individual card on them, but then the rest of the card is transparent. There's nothing on it, like a transparency that you used to use in school or whatever for presentations. You could like write on with the silly pens and whatnot, the wet erase pens. The way you read the cards is that instead of laying them out like in a line or a spread, you stack them on top of each other and kind of build up a story layer by layer, and then read the way the symbols interact with each other. And that seems like a really fascinating and different way to read the tarot to me, because instead of using the entire card, it's almost like you're building your own card instead of using a tableau or a spread. So that sounds really fascinating to me. I'm really intrigued by that concept. We don't get a lot of like really conceptual decks that change the way we use tarot very often, so that I find especially fascinating. I've heard some people say it's really exceptionally obnoxious, and I've heard other people say it's really difficult and it kind of freaks people out, and I've heard other people say that it's pretty fascinating. I haven't heard of anyone yet who has switched to using the transparent tarot as their primary or preferred deck. It's kind of more of a novelty thing, but I am just intrigued by it. I think that is, if I had to put them in an order, I think that would probably be tied with my number one on this list. And the other one it would be tied with is the next one, and everyone's going crazy for this deck right now, and it's the Santa Muerte deck. My first grade teacher, so going way, way back, many, many decades ago, was from Mexico. And that was kind of a rare thing when I was little. And so I learned about the Dia de los Muertos when I was in kindergarten, or first grade rather, and it has been one of my favorite holidays ever since. And so the Santa Muerte deck, if you know me, I'm like a huge horror fan. Halloween's my thing, and you know, Dia de los Muertos, and just a way the Mexican culture in particular, not like Spanish culture, but Mexican culture interacts with death and dying and death rituals is really especially fascinating. And I just love the artwork of the Santa Muerte deck and the way the symbols are used and the story and the background and everything. And I'm just absolutely in love with this deck. So I have to acquire it someday when a store can keep it in stock, because apparently I am not the only one in love with it. All of you are also in love with it too. So I will go ahead and in the description down below, like I've been doing throughout this series, I will include links so you can try to beat me to all these decks the next time they're in stock. And I happen to have money at the same time, so when the moon and the stars and the sun align, and I have an apartment so that I can actually do frivolous buying of things again. Those are my top 5, so definitely check them out, and if you have them, I would love to hear what you think about them, love them, hate them, think they're weird and ghastly or whatever. I would love to hear your input, especially on that transparent tarot. Oh, I did not mention my number 3. I am so sorry. The third one is another fascinating concept deck. That is the Terra of the New Vision, and if you're not familiar with it, this is something along the lines of the After Tarot that came out. Although I'm not so fascinated with the After Tarot as I am with the Terra of the New Vision. And the Terra of the New Vision takes our standard Rider-Waite imagery that we're used to on the cards, and it shows those scenes from a different angle, so we can see what else is happening in the scene. So, and you're in luck, because I actually have like one of my, well, my one and only Rider-Waite deck sitting on my desk for some reason. So, and I think this is one of the images they use on their site to sell it. So this is the Two of Swords, and we all know this image because it's pretty much the image every single deck kind of recreates. It's the woman with, you know, the crossed arms and the 2 swords upright in front of her, and she's wearing a blindfold. But in the Tarot of the New Vision, viewer is behind her instead of in front of her looking at her, and we're able to see what is in front of her, that she, what we would be from the standard Rider-Waite perspective. So it's just a different view of what is happening in the scene, what is going on behind the characters, what they're hiding, what's in front of them, and what they're facing, and what else is going on. So some of the cards are super fascinating, so I'll toss up some examples of the Rider-Waite and the Terra The New Vision versions. Some of the cards are freaking hilarious. They're going to completely disrupt. I know it's going to be a difficult deck for me to adjust to, because the way the cards are illustrated are going to be throwing such a spin on the way those cards are interpreted, because I can't stick to a purely systematic way of reading the cards. I don't just read straight, you know, number and element. There's also some nuance thrown in there from the card illustrations themselves, so it's gonna really like throw a curveball into how I read those cards, which will be fun. That's my idea of fun. So I find that deck absolutely fascinating. So those are now those are my top 5 tarot decks that I want, that are on my wish list right now. And so, like I said, I'll include the links to those in the description box below. There will be pictures throughout this video, so I hope you enjoy them. Again, you know, always try to support your artists and stuff, and, you know, your creators and all that kind of stuff, because this is how we get weirdo, bizarre decks like this. And it really enriches the community and throws all these different dimensions and ideas and concepts. And there's something to be said for tradition and the time-honored ways of doing things, but there's also something to be said for innovation and evolution as well. So, and also fun and amusement. We gotta have some fun, guys. If it's not fun, then why do we even bother? So, yeah, those are my top 5. So, links below, description there. We're on the 11th. This is my day 8 video, and I don't think I've mentioned it yet, so I'm gonna mention it now. But if you have been checking out my channel, I really appreciate it. I really love all the comments and interactions from the community. I'm trying to make my rounds and get caught up on everyone else's videos as well. But if you would like to support my videos, I have a Patreon account. That link's down there in the description as well. And even if you don't want to support me, I have a poll going on my page right now. So if you want to go and participate, it's open to the public, so check that out too. Alright, thanks guys. I'll catch you later. Bye.